Today I'm joined by Anna Faelten, who's Deputy Director of our Mergers and Acquisitions Research Centre here at CAS. She teaches M&A on our MSc programme, and today we're going to be talking about synergies. So first of all, Anna, what do we mean when we talk about synergies in this context?
Synergies are, I would say, the theoretical reason for an M&A. An M&A is basically, in a very large sort of umbrella term, when you buy control of another company. Now, if you were to just buy equities, for example, in the company or stocks, then you're not buying control, right? You're just buying the standalone value of that target, and you pay a certain price for it. If you believe in market efficiency, that price is spot on what that asset is worth. In an M&A context, you take control of that company. So basically, you now make the decisions of that company, and you can generate value from being the new owner. And I'll talk about that in a minute. And that value is basically your synergies. So 2 plus 2 equals more than 4. Should be the only reason really why you're buying another company, at least in the theoretical sense.
So where can the value in synergies come from?
It's very, I would say, industry specific and also firm specific, but I can walk you through a few of them. For example, just the simple fact that you have a new management team sometimes helps. Private equity very much drives around this, so they take control of the company and they are in fact the new managers, or at least advisors, close advisors to the managers, and therefore make better decisions, etc. From a corporate context, it's slightly different. It's around, I would say, cost synergies versus revenue synergies. Cost synergies is probably where people tend to focus most. They're the easiest to value, easiest to assess, and probably the ticking the box type synergies. That could be economies of scale, duplications of functions which are more central, for example, HR, finance, etc. So when you buy a company, all of a sudden you have 2 of those. You can in effect just get rid of people. Synergies very much, as I say to my students, is really just redundancies. But then you have revenue synergies as well, which I think is a larger theme. And certainly when you buy growth, much more of an important factor. And that could be cross-selling products that you have in your portfolio with a new distribution network, bundling them up with the products of the target company, etc. And therefore you sell it at a premium, or you sell to more customers.
And what are the potential problems of synergies?
Yeah, potential problems are many, I would say. Synergies, as I said, are something that people tend to like to talk about in an M&A context because it's the whole reason why you're doing it. So people, I would say, as with M&A, hubris, overestimations of your abilities, underestimations of costs are as important here as anywhere else in M&A. And people, I think, tend to underestimate how difficult it is to actually get these things done. So cost synergies, for example, if one of your cost synergies is around closing down a plant, for example, that you no longer need, that could actually be quite difficult to do, and they will have costs associated with them. Direct costs of redundancies, redundancy packages, but also political costs of closing down various bits of your business. Revenue synergies could just be, is this actually achievable? You know, because whatever you try to do at T1 when you're buying the business of assessments is obviously going to be dependent on actually doing it at the time. And I think people underestimate how difficult it is to get people to work together. Not saying that it's impossible, but it tends to take quite a lot of time.
So why is this so important?
Well, I think, as I alluded to before, investors tend to like synergies. Whenever you read a statement of a big transaction, there will be a lot of focus on the synergies that you're supposed to get out of this deal. And so I think, we've done some research on this ourselves, and certainly the more clear you are, concise you are about synergies in your announcement statement, the more likely you are to get a positive reaction on the day. The more likely you therefore are probably to complete the deal. And I think this relates also to a bit around planning and also around communication, which tends to translate into what you do after, so in the post-merger integration period, where the fact that you track your synergies, the fact that you're very clear and concise messages about synergies and what you're trying to get out of the deal also internally. And with this also comes communication around who's going to stay, who's going to go, or how is that process going to happen. I think that also translates into much lower employee uncertainty, which is actually, I think, where most of the value destruction in M&A happens.
Anna, thank you for your time.